For more reaction on the situation at the SABC, we are joined now by the Democratic Alliance's Director of Communications, Mabine Seabe. Good to have you, Mabine. Thank you very much for coming in. Let's just automatically get your response. 4 resignations so far on the board. What do you read into it?
It's of great concern that we have very competent board members resigning from the board of the SABC. And what's even more worrying is that the Minister of Communications, the new Minister of Communications, is in fact interfering in the work of the board rather than practicing oversight in this regard. And with these resignations, we're writing to the Portfolio Committee in Parliament to ensure that these board vacancies are advertised immediately so that we can in fact appoint a board. We can't sit with an interim board because that doesn't ensure stability. We need a permanent board that's going to take the SABC in the right direction. This is a public broadcaster where millions of South Africans, majority of South Africans, receive information, both entertainment and news, and therefore we need to ensure that this is a credible organization that can disseminate that news and information.
Yeah, you know, one of the reactions from some individuals, and we heard also some reactions from our recent discussion that Sakina just held, and people saying that this looks like a deliberate engineered crisis to collapse the board, and that is a very worrying sort of thing to read into it. Do you believe that that's what's going on?
Well, I mean, we've received information that, in fact, the ANC, in fact, has been interfering in what's happening in the board of the ANC and have, in fact, asked some members to resign. And we've seen in the past from the failing ANC interfering with the editorial policies of the ANC to ensure that they get favourable coverage on the news and so on. So this is something that we're monitoring very closely, and in fact we're going to engage all stakeholders to ensure that we get the SABC going. And on the issue of retrenchments, we have to ensure that there is in fact a skills and salary audit before any retrenchments take place. Because I think if we are to do that audit, which in fact was done previously in 2013, and we've asked for this audit to take place, but it hasn't taken place, because they're highly paid executives at the SABC, whilst the workers in fact suffer at the SABC. So this needs to take place. So in the interim, short to long term, in fact, we need to ensure that we appoint a board that can steer the SABC in the right direction and have the skills and salary audit take place.
Well, I mean, many people had felt and still do feel that the current board was that independent board we're talking about. It was a strong board. It was a board that had come up with some independent decisions. Now the independence is being questioned, and a lot of people are resigning. And also, all the work that they've put in, especially asking for the bailout from government, which is just not forthcoming. And this, hence, is perhaps one of the reasons for these resignations. But do you think there's more when it comes to the fact that government will not bail out the SABC? Do they have reason enough to not bail the SABC out? There
is no clear reason. I mean, we've heard previous speakers state that the SABC is not an institution like ESCOM and SAA that we throw money at and nothing happens. We believe that an SABC can work when the necessary resources are placed behind it in the interests of the people of South Africa, and that we can steer this board in the right direction. This, in fact, was an independent board that was doing the right things in the interests of the people of South Africa, not any political party or government. Because I think we must stress that this is a public broadcaster. It's not a party political broadcaster or a state broadcaster, and the independence of that board is vital. And we can understand the frustrations of board members when it comes to political interference rather than political oversight. So we must ensure that we have that board that is independent, and as the Democratic Alliance will back any board that's independent to ensure that the people of South Africa come first.
Yeah. However, just ending it on this note, I mean, we cannot ignore what many people are putting behind the reasons of these resignations is due to an investigation by the SIU into a tender that was awarded irregularly to the security company here, looking at about 183 million rand. So as much as we may think that the independent board and this was all great, but the reality is that's what's hanging over this the board that was there, the interim board. Do you think that possibly this is behind the resignations?
We don't believe that the SIU investigation is behind that, and we'll wait until March 2019 to hear the outcome of that investigation. If there is malfeasance that has been found out, that's a violation of the PFMA, and action must be taken, but we don't believe that the resignations are linked to the SIU investigation.
All right, Mabine, thank you very much for talking to us. Mabine Seabe is the Director of Communications at the DA, also weighing in their opinion, the DA's opinion as to the situation here at the SABC following the retrenchment. Not retrenchment, well, these of course are what's been spoken about, the retrenchment of the staff, but now it's the resignation of the board members we've seen 4 this week so far. Let's wrap up the bulletin.